Okay, our practice today is going to be a little bit of movement and a bit of conditioning, but going to try, if I remember, to keep this out of our wrists. I'm aware that the type of practice that I share with you is upper body. Gets a bit of a workout. Yeah, not that I don't think it should. We're going to work on that anyway, but we're going to work on it in a way today that we don't have to take weight into our wrists. So there's a couple of things I'm going to use today as part of our little practice, and it's going to be a yoga strap. I'm going to use an elasticated one, which has got lots of little loops all the way along it. And it's got a bit of weight and tension to it, so I can't remember what weight this equates to, but yeah, you need to give it a bit of a pull. You could do exactly the same, but with a normal cotton yoga strap, you're just bracing apart. In fact, I'll start with that one. And going to use a block as well. You're not going to need any of these things. You can do exactly the same as I'm doing without any of the equipment. Yeah, you just go through the same moves. So we'll start though by sitting and taking a few breaths just to settle into our practice, settle our focus, settle our intention. And whatever that is for you, I don't often speak about intention because I believe that our intention should always be to practice in a way that is good for you. So that is going to not cause any harm within your body, but also to challenge you a little bit. So to me, that's always the intention, is practice. Practice is just practice. It's not about finding the perfect pose. It's about practicing where you are at any given time. So our intention today is to be kind to ourselves. Yeah, don't judge what you can and can't do yet. Just practice and enjoy the process as much as possible. That's where growth is yeah, it's that finding a practice that you can enjoy. Okay, sitting nice and tall, however, is good for you. Shoulders relaxed, allow the face to relax, the jaw to relax, and your eyes could be closed or the gaze down. And just bring your attention to where you are in this moment. And starting to pay attention to your own breath. Nice steady inhale. And a full exhale, exhaling everything out. And at the end of the exhale, allowing the body to draw a big breath in. Expand the chest, sitting tall. As you exhale everything out, pelvic floor lifts, tummy draws back a little bit. Inhale again. Allowing the chest, ribs to expand, the belly to soften. It's okay to let go of the abs. And then as you exhale everything out, a little draw everything in, kind of starts to massage your abdomen a little bit. Okay, so from wherever you are, we're going to start to take a little bit of movement, reaching out and up. Big inhale, gaze to the thumbs, press the palms, exhale there. And then as you inhale, allow it all to relax. I exhaled. Inhale, sweeping it out and up. This time interlace the fingers and push the palms up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, round the back, reach the palms forward. Really stretch between the shoulder blades, tummy drawn in. No hold in the breath, continue to breathe. On your next inhale, lift the chest, sitting tall, bring the knuckles back towards the chest and pull your elbows back. Lift the gaze. And pushing away again. Exhale. And then inhale, lift. Exhale, release. And give your shoulders a little bit of a shrug and drop. So we're just pulling up and dropping them down. Maybe rolling them a little bit if that feels good. Okay, leaning over to one side, inhale, sweeping the arm across, so you're maybe starting to feel it in the side of the body, and rolling up towards the ceiling, maybe looking up. Maybe it feels better for you still to be looking down. That's okay. Taking it nice and slow as we move. Okay, coming back to center, reaching over to the opposite side and sweeping the right arm across now for me. And as you inhale, rolling up and open towards the ceiling. And release. Okay, from here I'm going to come forward. So if you've got your legs out in front, bend the knees and bring your legs wide. I'm going to sink forward and down, allow my neck to be long. Maybe I can come a bit further today. Easing into your movement. Maybe you like to give it a little wiggle, that's okay as well. And walking back in, I'm going to take a twist. So bringing my left hand to the opposite knee and twisting behind. Your hand could come in front, you don't have to twist too deeply. We're just moving our back in different directions. And release, coming the other way, inhale, sitting tall and spiral through the length of the spine. Drop the chin towards the shoulder behind. And release to the front. Okay, so while we're still seated, I'm going to take my strap. Again, you don't have to have the strap. Just think, if you don't have a strap, you could hold a towel, even your jumper, something that you can pull against. So you're gripping with the fists and pulling out the way, but the arms are straight. And lifting up, if you can, above the head. Maybe you're just a little bit forward. All depends on your shoulders. And I'm still pulling wide. And then I'm going to drop to one side. So kind of encouraging it a little bit. So this is better without a stretchy strap. Does that make sense? And back to center. And then dropping to the other side. And then back. And drop the shoulders down to shoulder height. And this time I'm going to be pulling back. So I'm drawing my elbows back and pulling the strap to the chest. Inhale. Exhale, pull. A long, slow action. Possibly you feel the shoulders really warming up now. We're going to do two more. So you're still pulling wide as you pull back. And one more. Reaching the arms out. Lifting up one last time. Coming over to the side. Tummy is drawn in. Release to the center. And to the other side. And release. Release the strap down. Give it a little shake. So from here, we're going to come on to, I know I said I'd keep it out the wrist, so I'm going to come on to my hands and knees just for movement through the cat-cow. So if you are finding that the compression in the wrists all the time is just a little bit too much, you could be on the fingertips, you could be on the fists. Just watch that you're not creating other strains by avoiding coming into the wrist. Showed you the other day about using a wedge. But the other thing you can do is just roll up your mat a little bit. Gives you a bit of space in the back of the wrist, which is what I'm going to do for this practice today, because what I do want to do is get a few circles going. So we're going to circle one way and then the other. Just warming things up a little bit. And staying in the center, I'm going to go for a little bit of a protraction of the shoulders. We're going to drop the chest down through the straight arms and then pop it back up again. So we're going to, so the shoulder blades come together and then they come apart. It is almost the only action that is going on in the body. So you're pushing the floor down, chest lifting, active across the front of the chest, and then you're allowing yourself to drop down between the arms and push. And give it another push. And one more. Push. And allow that to release. Bring in my mat forward again, reaching the hands forward now, dropping the head down between the arms. And maybe it feels good for you to give it a little shake. So if having the arms overhead like this, yeah, it's not good in your shoulders. You could be not quite as extended by coming onto the elbows, dropping the head down, tummy drawn in, ribs drawn in, hips going back, top of the feet pushing down. Or if you're ready to extend into the shoulders a little bit more, lift the gaze, looking forward, chin towards the mat, and allow the chest to soften towards the mat. Doesn't matter if it gets there. Just working on that flexibility in the shoulders. So for some of you who are more flexible, you may like to be rocking into this position or taking a little bounce. It's okay to work on your stretches like that. Just be aware of what's going on in your body. Okay, walking the hands back in. And we're going to tuck the toes and we're going to walk back, lifting the knees and come into a squat. So I'm on the toes. I'm keeping it quite high today. This is for me to work on my ankles and feet. So what I like to do here is a little swing. If you want to work on the stability of the pose, bring the feet a little bit wider, maybe take the heels down, maybe use a block to put the heels onto. Or again, you can roll up the mat and settle into your squat position. From here, we're going to crawl forward, crawling all the way to lie down on the mat. Coming onto the elbows, chest coming forward, nice long steady inhale, top of the feet pushing down, kneecaps lifted. Coming into our Sphinx pose. Bringing the right arm across the front of the body, left foot lifts. Now this is somewhere else you could use your strap. You could hook the foot with a strap if that's, reaching the foot with the hand doesn't work for you. I've taken my hand to the inside of the foot, which isn't the normal position, and then squaring the chest forward. And this stretches across the front of the chest a little bit more. Pushing the foot into the hand, again, is opening up across the front of the chest. A little bit more. And then changing position, rolling my hand over the foot so that the elbow's pointing up and pushing the foot down towards the hip to get into the quad. And release. Lower down, bring the fingertips wide, push into your fingers, and I'm going to come up into a wide cobra. So a little bit of support. Tummy is drawn in to protect the lower back, chest lifted, gaze lifted. And if you want, you could keep this moving, rolling through the shoulders if that felt good for you. One way and then the other. It's not very traditional, but it feels good. Okay, and settling back down. So coming onto the elbows again, left arm coming across the front of the body. We're going to go into that half bow on the right. So either holding on to the foot with your hand, or you could be using a strap. So if you're using the strap, you're not coming so close. Maybe just be aware of how that feels, pushing the foot to the strap and still thinking about lifting the chest. If you do have the hold of the foot, you're pushing the foot into the hand so that you're pulling across the front of the shoulder and the chest. Again, don't force anything too much. Then possibly rolling the hand, so the heel of the hand is pushing into the top of the foot now. So this doesn't work for everybody. It took a long time before my shoulders were ready to move in that direction. So if this doesn't work for you, just pull down as the hand was. You don't need to worry about changing the position of the hand. Yeah, 25 years at a desk. Yeah, it took a long time to sort out my shoulders. Okay, pushing into the hands, rolling back onto the hips, tuck the toes, and hold into this very extended child's pose. I've done it with tucked toes this time, just because it changes the stretch into the feet. Those of you that are really, quite happy to take weight into the wrist, maybe you want to come up into a downward facing dog right now, that's okay as well. We're going to come forward again into our Sphinx from here. Inhale, drawing the tummy in, rolling forward, lower down into Sphinx, or come into Sphinx in your way. Okay, top of the feet pushing down. So this is where I'm going to use the strap. We're going to work a little bit on our strength of our upper back and shoulders a little bit more. So this is the stretchy strap, stretchy. And it's got loops all the way along that you can put your hands into. It's quite good. So you can change, adjust where you're holding, closer together or further apart. I've only started using this year. Occasionally, I actually prefer using weights because it's about building a little bit of strength. So you're reaching the arms out ahead, slightly wider than shoulder width apart. And then we're going to lift and pull back. So it's an inhale and pull and bring the arms back. So you don't need to do this with a strap at all. You could do it with hand weights. You could do it with wrist weights. Think about the length of the neck as you lift, pull back. Inhale and pull. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, squeezing the elbows towards each other along the back. So if you wish, you could be lifting the legs at the same time. So again, if you're using weights, it kind of works on strength along the length of the back of the body. Inhale, extend, exhale, compression, and release. Okay, from here, coming back up onto the hands and knees, taking it into a cat-cow. Inhale, extend through the front of the body. Exhale, round the back, chin to chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round the back. One more. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round in the back. Duck the toes, walking the hands back, coming into our squat again. So from here, this whole practice is going to be kind of down on the mat. Taking your squat again, chest lifted, maybe you're keeping it active, keeping it moving, your choice. From here, I'm going to sit down, bring the legs forward, coming into a forward fold. So as we've got the strap, haven't done this for a while, I'll explain the forward fold with a strap, thinking about coming up onto the sit bones, soften the knees. So if forward folding, doesn't always work comfortably for you, hook your feet with the strap and sit tall and roll your shoulders back and down. Feet are flexed, legs are rolling towards each other, and you're up on your sit bones, tummy's drawn in, pelvic floor is drawn in. Soften the knees and draw yourself forward over the legs. So thinking tummy to come onto the legs, ribs to come onto the legs as you come forward and down. So this is not about getting down to your knees, it's about getting as far forward as you can with the upper body. So try not to make it all about tension in the shoulders. It's not all strength here. The strength in this pose is coming from the abdomen. Tummy's drawn in, pelvic floor's lifted. So it's equally as good just to stay here, working on the length without the fold. Long, steady breath. Okay, and release. So we're going to lie down. Keep the strap handy because it'll be good for this next one as well. So lying down and come on to pulling the knees into the chest and give yourself a little roll and a rock and a little side to side movement. So keeping the right knee in, let the left leg come down to the floor or stretching away. And we're going to straighten up that right leg. So here is where you would use the strap if you wish. So bend the knee, making a loop in your strap to hook over the foot and hold on there. And so you're pushing through the ball of the foot, so it's pushing towards the ceiling as you draw your right shoulder down and pull the strap down towards you a little bit. So you're creating tension here, not really a drag down. Left leg is pushing down into the floor, left hand can be on the thigh to hold in place. And then if you feel like you could lift up from here, tummy's drawn in, lift towards the leg and draw it a little bit closer if you can. And this is where your long steady breath is. Gaze to the toes. Those of you that can reach, it's holding on to the toe. So possibly you're about here. That's okay. You don't have to be quite so close. Think about tummy drawn in, lower back pushing into the floor, pelvic floor engaged. As you exhale, shoulders release down, and you're moving the right leg out to the right and drawing it up to level, towards level with your shoulder. It might be that it doesn't go that far. Really, you're just supporting the weight of the leg with the strap. You're not dragging it into a position that it's not ready to be in. And gaze in the opposite direction. Inhale. Lifting back up. So as we're using the strap, it's really good to turn and come the other way. So swapping hands, taking the left to the strap, or the left is taking the outside of the right foot as you settle down. And then as you roll onto the left side, you bring the right leg all the way over to the left. Reaching the right arm out behind and looking to that right side. And so not only are you reaching out to the side, but you're also bringing the leg up towards shoulder height if you can. Control as you return to the center, tummy drawn in, pulling it back up. And one last head to knee touch. And then release. Releasing the strap, releasing the leg. Coming into your other side. So pulling the left knee in, reaching the right leg away. So often I tell you when we're doing this pose to take the alternative of bent knee, but if you are using a strap, then go ahead and keep the legs straight for a change if it's not normally your practice, and see how it feels. Just don't force that movement in the back of the leg. It's quite an intense stretch if you're not used to it. Reaching through the heel and the ball of the foot. Leg is drawing closer, so you're using the abdomen to draw it closer. And then as you sit up, you bring in shoulders, chest towards the thigh without too much of a pull on this strap. It's more your strength of your own body that's doing the work. Right leg is pushing down, right hand is holding in place. Gaze towards the toe if that feels okay for your neck. And release it down. Exhale, moving that left leg now out to the left. So remember, you're supporting with the strap, you're not pulling yourself around by it. This is still controlled by your own movement. Focus on the breath. Gazing point is off to the right. On your next inhale, draw the leg back to center, and then you can take the swap. So swapping into the left hand and taking that left leg all the way out to the right, rolling onto the right hip as you go. Stretch the left arm out towards the left and gaze to that left hand now. We've also done this pose standing, not nearly as easy. And really settle into the stretch here, using your breath to make the tight bits a little bit easier. So you can't physically move your breath into that area, but you can visualize it softening as you breathe. Inhale, bringing the leg back to the center, and if you wish, one head to knee touch, and release. Hug the knees into the chest, give yourself a little bit of a wiggle, and we're going to come to bridge. Okay, placing the heels down. That's another place we can add in the strap. Not something I've practiced, but I know you can do it. So this is not something I've practiced much. So you put the strap around the front of the ankles, and we're just coming into our half bridge, and from there, inhale, lift up. So lifting through the front of the body, chest lifted, hips are lifted, and you're creating a little bit of tension with holding the strap around the ankles, and then releasing it down. And just be aware as to how that feels in the back, because it can make it feel a little bit more intense. Maybe you can move in a little bit closer with the heels. Inhale, lifting through the hips, extend through the body, lift the chest, gazes up. Long, steady breath, and release it down. So for some people, they can reach their own ankles. Yeah, I can only do it if I take myself onto the toes first. Yeah, my body doesn't always do what I want it to do. Isn't that the case? Okay, so you can take the ankles rather than the strap, lift, and maybe work on pushing the heels down. Just be aware as to how intense this is in your back, especially your lower back. And I'm going to release down. And to release, I need to come onto the toes. So it all depends on your body shape and openness in the front of the body as to how easily that is going to be to move for you. Okay, hug the knees into the chest. Give it a little wiggle. And the last little part of our practice today. Yeah. I hope I didn't say it was going to be easy, because it's not. We're just not using our wrists. Okay. So from here, we're going to sit up. So rock to sit and come back to the middle of the mat. Right. So told you I was going to use my block. So we've done a bit of work on our back. I want to do a bit of work on the front of the body. So this is going to be a version of boat-ish, but we're going to set it up. So we're going to keep the feet down to start with. Feet are hip width apart, coming up onto the sit bones, and I've got the block, and I'm just pushing it between my hands. I'm going to reach forward, and it's just, this is all about the back again at the moment, and then keeping the tummy drawn in, we're going to lift the block up above the head and hold. So you're pushing the hands together this time. So with the strap earlier, we were pulling apart. This time we're pushing together, just while we're holding the block. And then as you exhale, you're going to round the back, reach the arms forward, and see how far we can hover back. And hold again. Inhale, sweeping it up. Lift, tummy's kind of drawn in, we're reaching high, holding steady, pushing the hands together. Exhale, sinking back. So maybe you're coming low, maybe onto your sacrum. Keep pushing the heels down. You want to be, they've got a tendency to want to float up here. So we want to stay controlled, so maybe don't come so low. If you find that you're losing control, is the point that you stay at. So it's okay to just be working on this little roundness here. So if you find with the block, it's just too much. So for some, that's just too much in the shoulders, just bring the arms back. Yeah. I'm laughing at where I put my block. That's where it's going next. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back and hover. And last one, inhale, lift. Exhale, and hold. Okay, little block. So I'm using my little blocks today, not the big ones. These are actually called a brick because they're about half the size of a block. It does look like a house brick. So squeezing the knees together this time, we're going to come into Navasana, but with the block between my knees and chest lifted. So you could be helping your balance here and working just on the legs if you wish, or we're going to see if we can come into our dish, but still squeezing the legs together and draw it in. So this could actually be between your feet or the knees. It's entirely up to you. And squeeze. It's about getting this activation of the inside of the legs as well as the abs, which works into the transverse abdominals a little bit more. And the pelvic floor. We want that to be nice and strong as well. And one more. Nice and steady and strong. And hold. Okay. So the last little thing is a little bit more active, and it's a while since I've done it, so here's, I wonder if we can. Okay, so we're going to start with the block in the hands or the feet. Really doesn't matter, we're going to swap where they're at. So as we lie down and reaching the body long, we're going to sit up and put the block between our feet. So it's a sit up and release. So I'm going to do it with bent legs. So you can go from the dish, or you can go from the half dish. So we could be here and not come in flat down. So it's a little bit of stability movement. Or you could be coming all the way to the mat and lift. Swap all the way down and lift. Of course, I can't breathe and speak and do at the same time. One more. And hold maybe for a little bit, and then relax it down. Okay, hug your knees in. Give yourself a little rock side to side. Bring the feet to the mat, knees together-ish, feet really wide. And we're going to rock one knee to the center. Go a little side to side. And then wherever you are, allow yourself to come into Shavasana position for a while. So the legs are long, big inhale, shoulders tucked underneath the body, and a long, slow exhale. And when you are ready to move, make sure you're moving carefully. Give yourself a bit of a rest.